This week on Wildcat News, we discuss a new safety measure.
The effects of caffeine are investigated.
And we meet a student that plays lacrosse.
All these stories and more are coming up because Wildcat News starts now. Good morning, West Johnston. I'm Grayson Betts.
And I'm Miranda Bean. As a response to the lockdown, there's now an adult sitting at the front of the school all times of the day. Emma Pollard reports.
The Community Ambassadors Program was recently implemented during the transition to a higher security system. English teacher Elizabeth Gherkin explains the purpose of the position.
There is a face-to-face. Every time somebody comes to the building, there's a face meeting another face. It's just one more mechanism in place before they reach students, the people who we're trying to protect. It's just good to know who's entering and who's leaving the building at all times for safety purposes.
Sophomore Morgan Johnson believes a program like this should not serve as a long-term solution.
I think it's effective for right now, but in the future I don't think it'll be as reliable because most of the time it is teacher volunteers and they're not specifically trained to protect us in case of an event.
Gherkin encourages community members to volunteer, especially parents.
Seeing our community, not just those are parents, this is a real life parent here in front of you. You can see them, they're real people. It kind of gives a better sense of a community and togetherness.
Due to a lack of volunteers, teachers have been filling the position during their planning periods. One teacher wishing to remain anonymous is against staff members being responsible for the position and says, "I'm not a security guard. Taking any time away from me and my planning takes time away from my students. We are counselors, therapists, coaches. How many more roles could they expect us to take on? We're spread so thin." Johnson is thankful teachers agree to volunteer.
I do think it's taking time away from their school day where they could be planning and doing stuff like that, but I am grateful that they do volunteer and take their time to make sure we're safe.
Johnson is glad school safety is receiving attention.
Nobody should be nervous to come to school because our safety should be a priority. And we're coming here for a safe education and we shouldn't have to worry about who can enter the school and who can't.
I'm Emma Pollard, Wildcat News.
Thanks, Emma. Caffeine can really affect teenagers in negative and positive ways. Emma Pollard investigates.
Whether in the form of a caramel macchiato or Red Bull energy drink, teenagers seem to drink a lot of caffeine. Senior Aubrey Haverdink drinks caffeine almost daily and describes how this affects her.
I do rely on it now. I didn't used to. I started drinking energy drinks about 2 years ago consistently, and now if I don't have one, I get a really bad headache. It's helped me to be more happy all the time and be more outgoing.
Sophomore Allie Powell believes many people use caffeine to stay awake.
Like my mom, for example, the less sleep she gets, the more she wakes up and she's like, "Don't talk to me unless I've had my coffee," I can't. But if she gets a good night's sleep, she's usually she can go without it.
Drinking more than 500 milligrams of caffeine a day can lead to anxiety and jitteriness. Cutting back on caffeine can also have physical effects.
I stopped drinking caffeine for a month, and in that month I had horrible headaches the first week, and then after that they went away and I was all right, but that first week was rough.
Haverdink and Powell believe that teens should try to limit the amount of caffeine they drink.
I'd say most teens probably wake up in the morning and have either a cup of coffee or some soda or something with caffeine in it, and that's not healthy. I think if teens could cut back, that'd be great, but I don't think they will.
I feel like it's a process to get away from it because you get so reliant on it, getting your energy from this caffeine, and then when you don't have it, it's kind of like you're drowsy for a little bit and you have to you have to kind of wean yourself off of it. It's more about a lifestyle, eating healthy and exercising has been proven to increase energy in people.
I'm Emma Pollard, Wildcat News.
Thanks, Emma. Over spring break, the women's soccer team came together for a greater cause. On March 26th, the women's soccer team played a home game in honor of the Harbor of Johnston County, which is a domestic violence and sexual assault agency to those in need. Senior Corey Lawrence thinks that her teammates took this particular game to heart.
There was more urgency in the game and, more wanting to win because of, we obviously had people donate money and the Harbor of Johnston County was here, so we wanted to go out and perform well and, just do our thing.
Women's soccer coach Reed Bird enjoyed the reactions from the team.
It's just neat to see the girls rally around it and to play for a cause, and before we ever got out here on the field to actually go out and raise money for it.
Lawrence and Bird thought this game had a great outcome.
We had a good crowd. We had so many donations. We stayed out at lunch and got so many donations from so many generous people, and we're very grateful for that.
It went really well. We were able to raise enough money. We took expenses out for the jerseys and for the signs we made for the people that donated, and after all the expenses, we were still able to give $1,000, which I thought was pretty good.
This was the first game in honor of the Harbor, but Burr believes this will be an annual event.
I talked to the lady from the Harbor today, and we're going to try to establish a link between them and our school and our community to do stuff in between things for the Harbor, in between the games we do each year.
Lawrence thinks that this event makes a difference.
Anything's worth it for a good cause, because why not do something good, in the world when obviously there's a lot of bad things going on. Just, spread some love.
I'm Grayson Betts, Wildcat News.
Thanks, Grayson. There's a student that plays a sport that not many students at West play. Mason Butcher reports.
Lacrosse is a team sport where players use a stick and a ball in which they pass, catch, and shoot the ball into the goal with the head of the stick. Junior Drew Applequist plays lacrosse and prefers it over other sports that he has played.
I started playing lacrosse when I was 10 years old because I was playing baseball, but it was too boring and I liked standing around, and I wanted to play a fun sport, so I started to play lacrosse.
Applequist gained interest in lacrosse after a clinic visited his elementary school.
So me and my friend were looking for a sport to play in spring, and we both saw lacrosse, and we just wanted to play together on the same team.
Applequist attempted to get a lacrosse team together his freshman year.
I tried to get a lacrosse team started 2 or 3 years ago at this school, but we dropped to 3A, so it's just hard to get the funds together and have the amount of people needed to make a full lacrosse team.
The diversity of lacrosse is what Applequist enjoys most.
I think lacrosse is actually the same compared to a lot of other sports. It's like a combination of basketball and soccer and a lot of other sports because there's a goal. It can be high scoring, and it's just fast-paced, kind of like hockey. It's just a combination of a lot of sports.
I'm Mason Butcher, Wildcat News.
Thanks, Mason.
Well, that's all for us this week. If you have any comments, questions, or story leads, email us at wjstudentmedia@gmail.com or send us a tweet at wjstudentmedia.
And if you want to watch Wildcat News at home, on the go, or catch up on past episodes, go to wjstudentmedia.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Grayson Betts.
And I'm Miranda Bean. Thanks for watching and have a great week.